You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. This week on The Biz, Social Media Marketing Series. And on today's show, Baby Step Strategies with the president of Financial Social Media and national social media columnist, Amy Mcllwain.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And today, day 4 with Amy Mcllwain. Welcome again.
Thanks.
I'm learning. I'm going to school. Man, I think I'm like Mr. Marketer. I've been in this thing 30 years, and then I'm being schooled by a generation half my age telling me how to play in the 21st century. Thank you very much for that. Now, what we're talking about today is we're going to talk about baby steps into this. Real strategies like how much should I tweet? How often should I tweet? Right now, yours truly found a little launcher, and we'll talk about that. I try to tweet no less than 3 times a day, every day, 7 days a week.
That's great. That's, Twitter is like a radio station. Different people are listening at different times. Mm-hmm. So you want to think of yourself on Twitter as the content DJ. You're filtering through the barrage of information on the internet and sharing that with your audience, positioning yourself as the expert. Some of it can be your own content and your own videos, and some of it can be the best of others. Mm-hmm. So, maybe you're coming out with a blog, share it this morning, share it tomorrow afternoon, share it Saturday evening, different times. You can repeat content just like radio stations repeat songs. Now
I notice in Twitter, sometimes they shut you down and say, you already tweeted that. What's the difference between what you just said and that?
Typically if someone says that to you, first, that's not very likely to happen. In my whole experience on Twitter, I've never had anyone say that I've already shared something. Oh. So, and then if a situation like that would happen to occur, just respond to them and be like, well, I think this is extremely valuable and I wanted to make sure.
Okay. I love retreads because I think, there's seasonal issues, and one year I was creative and the next year I wasn't that creative. So I like to do that. When I think about a person consistently trying to use Twitter, and I love your DJ metaphor. I mean, I'm just thinking there, I got my disc going, and I'm pushing Twitter out the door, And right now I'm tweeting so many other people. I tweet a lot of insurance wire service stuff because I like the story. I think that my people should know it. I have people following me. And I think that it gets retweeted, especially when it's really great content. And that's the second thing that's tough. And I want to talk about this because let's say I'm willing to tweet 1 or 2 times a day. Let's say I can get some commitment on that from our producers watching. But they're going to say, but content, Steve, I'm just not a wordsmith. I don't have the real skills, especially knocking it down to 140 characters with punctuation all in. That's difficult. Mm-hmm. So how do I know what to tweet? How do I know what to talk about? Because I'm not really prolific.
There's lots of shortcuts. Hearing that you should be posting 3 to 5 times a day is intimidating to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But you can utilize resources like RSS feeds. So pull an RSS feed from the Wall Street Journal or a different source, and you can have that content automatically go out to your network. Mm-hmm. You can also pre-schedule tweets. So there's tools like Hootsuite and Gremlin, different social media management tools where you can actually schedule all your status updates for a week in advance. So that's another big time saver.
By the way, I want to bring this up. I use a launcher that lets me schedule out into whatever. And I've noticed I have creativity. Someday I'm real creative. I can write 15, 20 tweets and a whole thing. Next day, I couldn't write a tweet if my life depended on it. So I always try to launch it. And I've been doing calendar tweeting, news tweeting, sports tweeting, right? To try to agree, and also dates in history tweeting. Yep. So I'm trying to mix it up to say, oh, Steve, because I always get called, Steve, that was really cool about that. I didn't know that happened in history. So when we're talking about it, a couple tweets a day is not that hard, and it's a discipline, I have to say. It took me a little while. Using launchers, to get you out, like Hootsuite, things of that nature. And then lastly, I'm thinking about 3 basic strategies. When I'm thinking, posting pictures. That's what I want to get to. Posting pictures. You talked about this 2 days ago. Big deal, right? Mm-hmm. I'm posting pictures. I'm attaching links to places to go see my pictures, right? If a picture's worth 1,000 words, and especially since the tweet can't be more over 140 characters, right? How big is pictures and photos in everything we're talking about.
Huge. With social media, you need to be putting out pictures are going to get you so much more response. So even when I came in here today, I said, I'm like, can we have someone snap some photos of us live in action while we're on here? And I'm going to share them with my social networks because that's what you do. You want to give your followers a behind the scenes look at what you're doing. So if you're doing a radio show or you're getting some media exposure, make sure you're taking photos while you're live on the air, or hand your camera, walking in saying, hey, getting ready to go on ABC this morning.
Now, which, by the way, let's just talk about that for a little bit. A little kudos to Amy. Now, you've been on your ABC. What else you been on?
NBC, Fox, CBS. I've been on a lot of the stations.
Wall Street Journal,
recently.
too?
Wall Street Journal.
I mean, people are looking to Amy because she owns this financial sector of social media. And I mean, when you start getting on some of these big networks, they really say, man, what are you talking about? You got kind of a following, and you do. You got kind of a cult following, I have to say. And I am we are on several different blogospheres where we share the same channel, where we might be on writing articles. I always read her stuff. It's always great. It's always edgy. And it always brings me to a new place. I can't remember one article that I've ever written where I said, I knew everything she just said. I didn't. And most of the time I'm like, oh, that was new. That was new. So I want to encourage you when we're talking about picture posting, graphics, cartoons. I mean, all this is really powerful imagery, and especially when people like this, well, people don't want to see me on the golf course. Well, maybe they do.
They do. Like I said, they really want that behind the scenes footage of, what's going on. And they can feel like are part of it. We really saw this too during the Olympics, A lot of the athletes were snapping photos of them in the locker room and giving them, and it built this relationship with them and lets them feel like they're part of their lives. So.
Well, I remember one shot from the Olympics. They took the shot of this gal that was a really great track star. Then they shot her in a really great evening gown. I didn't believe it was the same person. Unbelievable. When we come back from the break, we're going to address some more of these 3 social media strategies that you can use to start up your online campaign. And don't forget to enroll in IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, sales support when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Brokers Alliance and the National Insurance Clearinghouse present a Bravo special event, our tribute to Halloween entitled Tales from the Crypt, our carrier expose on impaired risk underwriting, examining 12 substandard cases taken from the underwriting files of the declined, the postponed, and the heavily table-rated. Featured throughout the broadcast, the Impaired Risk Field Guide, the most comprehensive report for substandard sales in the industry. In the report, we'll uncover the top table-shaving programs and unearth the best carriers in lifestyle crediting, and highlight the most detailed substandard spreadsheet with the most recognized names in impaired risk underwriting. Join me, Steve Savant, the Phantom of Unplaced Premium, October 31 at 1 p.m. Eastern at www.brokersalliance.com/Halloween. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant. This is Amy Mcllwain. And remember, you can order some of Amy's giveaways at thebiz at brokersalliance.com. And we're giving away the compliance, not only the compliance guide, but if you'll write your first case, I'll give you the social advisor. It's on Amazon.com right now. This is great. I'm going to have to be reading the compliance area after yesterday's show. I know that chapter is going to be hot. It's the dark side of social media, but we'll get it done. And we're going to talk about some of the other giveaways that we talk about every day for social media because we want you to be engaged. And one of the things we're talking about now, one of the strategies is using LinkedIn. And I did not realize that this could be a prospecting tool. I have to tell you, I did not even think the way you're going to talk about now. And I want you to say, Steve, is this a heads up moment? This is a heads up moment.
There's so many cool things you can do on LinkedIn. I get so excited. The advisors love LinkedIn. You can be really strategic. You can follow companies on LinkedIn, and you can actually request to be notified whenever an employee leaves or joins that company. Now, Steve, what happens when somebody leaves a company?
Well, their 401ks are left behind.
Exactly. So it's a perfect opportunity to, reach out to these people. And I know a lot of people focus on the 401k rollover market, and you can identify this through LinkedIn. You can also go in, and LinkedIn is also unique, and it's one of the only networks where you can actually import contacts and export contacts. So if you build and connect with a huge following in your local area, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people, you can export all of their email addresses and their phone numbers, and you have a list of people to follow up and call.
So, I look at this as if once you understand it, and that's why I hate to say it, you're going to have to go to our university, because I can't even explain it as good as Amy and her staff do. And if you go out there, and they have a very, very, very economical tuition. And I would say, if you're going to get into this market, I would not make mistakes. And I think I made some mistakes without really checking in with Amy at the beginning. We did some good things. We've done some dunderhead things. And now we're trying to figure out what we're doing. And I'm right in the middle of our university, and we want to pass it on to you. So we'll catch you all that up. Just write me, Steve, I need to go to the university. What's the site? Just write me at thebiz@brokersalliance.com, and I'll send it to you. When we're talking about using LinkedIn as a prospecting tool, that kind of wakes people up to social media. They go, whoa, now I'm interested, right? You were maybe, you didn't want to tweet, you didn't want to do Facebook. Yeah, but now we're talking about prospecting, actually getting cases. That's a small baby step. I want to talk about this because it kind of relates to the show, and I hope it's not too vain to bring it up, but how much integration do you do within social media? There's a lot of correlation between your Twitter account, your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account, your Google+. There's a lot of integration. Are there ways to make campaigns out of integrating them all together?
Yes. And we encourage people to do that. So for example, with LinkedIn, reach out to your LinkedIn contacts, send them messages asking them to become a fan of your Facebook page, and be cross-promoting the various networks, sharing content.
Why is that important? Why is becoming a fan or a like? Why is that important?
Because when you become a fan or you like, you're essentially subscribing to their news feed. So you can see all of their content. So you can see all of the articles you're sharing, some of those, office stories, things like that. So by liking or connecting, you can do that. With LinkedIn, however, when you get connected, not only get to see their whole news feed, but you can also send them messages. So maybe you're having a local event. You can then go through and send personal invites inviting people to your wine tasting. We have a client that does this. 25% of the people that show up for his wine tastings are a direct result of LinkedIn.
So those invitations didn't even go to them straight, either email, regular snail mail. That went right from LinkedIn.
Right from LinkedIn. And the great thing about LinkedIn too is it'll sit in their LinkedIn box. So you can log into LinkedIn and you have a LinkedIn email box. So it stays in there, and it's also sent to the regular inbox. But let's face it, I get over 100 emails a day, as do you, I'm sure. So no one pays attention to that anymore. So it's important to reach out to them and stand out in the crowd.
Well, I think that's a huge issue. Think about the economy of having LinkedIn people come to your special event, your client event, that had nothing to do with having somebody do email or spending the money on hardcore mail. You're doing hard mail. So I think that to me is the unsung story of LinkedIn. I think everything we talk about this week, very good. It's PR, it gets you out on the net, it has branding issues to it. But I think that is now where people go, wow, that could be huge, Steve. I think I could see that as a prospect. Now, you know what? One of the things that we use it for, and I want you to address this, so it might be a little off topic, but in the past, I've used social media almost exclusively to support our video campaigns on the internet, our show, as an example. Do you see much? I don't see much video out there right now in our industry, especially more insurance specific, but I see the kind of thing that's going on where we're supporting the show with Twitter, big time, with Facebook, big time. Everything we're doing on the show is all on those. LinkedIn the same way, Google+. We're doing it, but it's more of a support mechanism for the show itself. If people have regular things, like I'm thinking of this guy that has a huge seminar business. He should be using this to support it.
No doubt. And that's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of confusion with social media. People think it's a separate pillar on its own. It's not. Social media amplifies all of your other marketing efforts, what you're already doing, reaches a broader audience. And like you said, with social media, you essentially become the media. If you're not getting picked on TV, start your own TV show, like this one, an internet show, and build the pipeline and build an audience, build a following. If you're running an ad on a TV station, you're renting their audience. With social media, you're building your own audience. So you can broadcast to them, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, drive that traffic back to your site. This is an audience you own. You're not renting somebody else's. You're owning this, and you can choose your message and send it out.
We even have producers who are using parts of our show as their own promotional because they're really talking and selling the same things we are.
Content, content, content.
Unbelievable. Well, remember, you can watch this show and all our shows by clicking the red on-demand video button right on our homepage at brokersalliance.com. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.